What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Waters. Welcome to No Life Till Metal. It's time for a rock metal update. That's right, it's time for a rock metal update. This time it's going to be all rock. Last few updates have been all metal. This is going to be mostly just hard rock and some prog and some other stuff that's outside the, what I would call metal these days. Some of this stuff people might consider metal because, frankly, I would have called it so in the 70s as well. So, I'm going to start off with this, the brand new album from Alice Cooper. This is PARANORMAL. Saw this tour a few weeks ago in California and Hollywood, and it was spectacular. Unfortunately, only played, I think, the title track, and that was it from this album. It was all classic stuff, but regardless, this is a really, really good album from Alice. Last album was Welcome to My Nightmare, and that one was kind of all over the map musically. This one sticks more to the hard rock, garage rock sound, just exactly what you'd want to hear from Alice, and there's really not a bad song on here. This is a 2 LP version. I just got the black vinyl version. This was actually bought at the concert. I'm not sure if they're all like this, but it came with a bonus live CD. The album is 45 RPM, 3 songs per side, 4 sides, obviously. Frankly, I would rather had it on a single album at 33 RPM, but whatever. Supposedly it sounds better at 45. Okay. It is a gatefold album, and it's a pretty common album. It's not hard to find, and it's not real expensive. Very good album from Alice. I'd pick up anything from Alice. So, speaking of Alice, this was a VCLT that arrived just a couple days ago from Headbanging Zulu, UK. He sent Alice Cooper's Man Behind the Mask, which of course was Alice Cooper's song for the Jason movie with Jason Lives, Friday the 13th. So this one has 2 live B-sides. 2 live B-sides? No, it has 2 live songs on the B-side. There's not 2 B-sides. And then the A-side has obviously the title track from the movie, or the whatever title track. Is that what it is? Anyhow, very cool. 12-inch single from Mr. Zulu himself. As well, he saw this in the store and he said he couldn't leave it behind. He thought of me, and I am so glad he picked this up for me because I've never seen it before. So glad to have it. But this is AEROSMITH. This is live at the, actually it's called Best of AEROSMITH, live at Woodstock, 13th of August, 1984. So it's from the radio broadcast, so obviously it's got decent sound. It is not the full show. I have a CD of the full show. This is the first thing I've seen show up on vinyl having even anything to do with that show. But anyhow, it's just a single album, and it's got, 9 songs, including an 8-minute version of Living on the Edge. Yeah, very good sound. Cover is a bit odd, with the AEROSMITH logo being a mustache and this old picture from I think this was like 74 that picture was taken. But very cool. Transmissions, live on air, AEROSMITH, live at Woodstock, 1994. Again, thanks so much, Zulu. I appreciate that one more than you know. Next up, one I picked up, I don't even remember where I picked this up now. I've had this for quite a while. I just haven't shown it in the video because it didn't fit. But this is Genesis, and then there were 3. I picked this Japanese version up, pristine condition for very little. I can't even remember. It was, I can't remember where I bought it from. That's ridiculous. I remember everything I buy. Anyhow, regardless, it was very cheap in great condition, so I snatched it up. It is the gatefold, just like the US version. But it also has the bonus lyrics in Japanese, and then the lyrics in English on the gatefold. And it's on the standard Charisma label. Very good sound. I just rarely ever see a Japanese pressing that's not in pristine condition, as is the case with this one. I mean, the only minor thing is that very edge right there. There's a little teeny ding, and that's it. And I think I paid, I'm going to say, around the area of $10. But this is a classic album for Genesis. It's got their still progressive rock sound from the 70s. And then there were three. It was because there was only three members left. Tony Banks, Phil Collins, and not Anthony Phillips. He had left the band. Anthony Phillips left the band. Tony Banks, Phil Collins, and Mike Rutherford. There you go. Thus, and then there were three. Great album. One I find very relaxing. One I listen to quite often. So anyhow, my U.S. pressing is shipping to a friend, and I now have this Japanese pressing in my collection. Speaking of Genesis, this one was picked up by Bill Bafford at a record show out in California for me. He's always keeping his eye open for obscure Genesis stuff for me. This is basically, it's called The Best of Genesis, but it's basically their second and third full-length albums on a double album set. Gatefold. And it's on the Buddha Records label. Again, pristine condition. More collectible than something to listen to all the time, because like I said, it's just their second and third albums on re-released with a different cover and whatnot. Kind of a cool cover though. A couple pictures of Peter Gabriel on the front wearing his unusual costumes back in their 70s prog days. Next up is this is a band called Bucks, and I've been looking for this forever. And I was filming a video in a record store a year or two ago, and I was watching the video back, and I sprawled right past it. Didn't even see it. Didn't pick it up. Don't know why or how I did that, but someone else in the video noticed it and pointed out, "You didn't grab that Bucks record?" Sure enough, I didn't. So this one I actually got from a friend of mine, Rob Caldwell, and this thing is in pristine condition, brand new. It is probably a promotional copy because it does have the little hole there, but other than that, it's in great condition. So what you have here is you have two of the guys who formed Angel. You've got Punky Meadows, who is right there, and then you've got let's see, Mickey Jones, bass player, as well. You have Ralph Morman. Music's a little loud, but sorry. Ralph Morman on vocals. Love Ralph's vocals. Ralph sang on the very first Joe Perry Project album. Just a very unique, charismatic, kind of gravelly voice. Just very, when you hear his voice, you know it's him. One of the cool things about this album, besides it being a solid hard rock album, much better than Cherry People, by the way, who also featured Punky Meadows. There's a version, the original version of White Lightning on here that was written by Punky Meadows and was later re-recorded with Angel. I've always loved this song by Angel, but I actually like this one better now. It's got more of an edge to it. It's a little heavier. It's not quite as pomp as the Angel version was. Very good record. Highly recommended if you're an Angel fan or just a fan of solid 70s hard rock. This chalk is up to bad cover art. This is Jerusalem. Always liked this band as well. This one that I didn't have in the collection, I grabbed it. I've always kind of stayed away from this because of the cover. It looks so friggin' goofy. I don't know what the record company was thinking here. The photo's okay, but why did they? What's the point of putting the spots on the guy's t-shirt? They're obviously not on his shirt. They're laid over top, and the little triangle behind. I don't know. Some graphic designer thought it was a good idea. But then on the back cover, you got another photo, and of course they put the spots in there under his jacket, so you kind of think they're on his shirt. I'm not exactly sure what the point was. Are they just trying to make it more interesting? I don't know. But yeah, it's a okay album. It's not my favorite album from them. Dancing on the Head of the Serpent and Warrior are two of my favorites from them. This one's Can't Stop Us Now, and it's not bad. It's kind of straightforward, hard rock, a little bit poppy at times, but not a bad album from Jerusalem. Okay, next up, this was some VCLT from the Metal War God, Angel City, Face to Face. Now this is kind of I don't know, what was this, 78, 79, something like that, 79. Kind of has that start of the new wave sound to it, a little bit of a punk edge, hard rock. Not bad stuff. They'd probably be considered AOR by most standards, but they do mix it up a little bit. You kind of hear some of that early new wave that was kind of popular in the late 70s and early 80s, as well as a bit of a punk vibe as well. I like it. It's not, it's nothing to knock the doors down, but it's a cool album to listen to, and I quite enjoyed listening to it. These two I picked up in Arizona. when I was driving through, I stopped at a record store and grabbed the Van der Graaf Generator Still Life. Solid prog rock, a little bit psychedelic at times, but just solid prog rock. And then their album that I really enjoy from them, I was unfamiliar with this one when I picked it up, but I also picked up World Record, which is fantastic. Now this is now my have on CD and I've heard many times and sounded great on vinyl. Both these were a little expensive. I think I paid 20 bucks for each of them, but they're great records. They don't show up very often. I was really surprised to find them, you know, out in the wild, as people call it now. But yeah, good stuff. Van der Graaf Generator. Thinking they're German prog. I might be wrong in that. I didn't look it up before I did the video. So. But very good band. Progressive, proggy, not hard rock in the slightest. Just straightforward prog rock. And of course, straightforward. What is straightforward about prog rock, man? Yes, doesn't sound like Genesis. Doesn't sound like Nectar. Doesn't sound like Pink Floyd. I mean, all these bands don't sound anything like each other. They're all considered progressive. So. Alright, what do we got next is DARRELL Mansfield. I picked this one up in out there in Arizona as well. Driving through, this is Get Ready. This one was a bargain bin. I think I paid less than $5 for it. Always liked DARRELL Mansfield, just a straightforward rocker. A lot of blues influences in his music. You know, if you're into stuff like Gary Moore, trying to think of who else, Pat Travers, or I don't know, any of those guitar-based hard rock artists from the 70s, DARRELL Mansfield's kind of up in that range, you know, Rory Gallagher, that kind of thing. But this is on Polydor Records from, what, 1979? Nope, 1980, I was close. Like I said, just solid hard rock album from DARRELL Mansfield, who has released several more albums since this one. Well worth picking up if you find it in the bargain bins. I'm keeping my eye open for, his Revelation album, which is my favorite by him. I don't own that one yet. Last one up. This is, you know, some people would consider this band, especially in the 70s, a metal band, but this is Legs Diamond. This was their 80s comeback album. What year was this? 1984 on Target Records. They were definitely going for a more heavy metal sound here, but to me it still has that hard rock vibe. I don't think this is anywhere as good as their 70s material. I think the 70s material was great. They should have just stuck to their guns and not tried to, you know, do the metal thing. But again, it's not bad. I actually do like it quite a bit. I just think that their 70s records were just stellar, and it's not a bad record. Nice addition to the collection. So very cool stuff from Legs Diamond, 1984, Target Records. And that might be about it for this. Yeah, that's it. But I wanted to say in the background is playing the brand new album from Rose, Songs for the Virtually Abused. And this is a brand new record from him, and I was kind of expecting it to be, you know, like some of his older albums. I don't know why I expected kind of the doom metal, because he's never really been doom metal, nor has he ever really stuck to a formula. But you know, this is kind of a mixture of hard rock, a little bit of doom here and there, and a big helping of Queen influence, especially in some of the vocals. The song playing behind me right now, this kind of gives me that old school Rose vibe. But if you heard it in stuff earlier, that kind of has that Queen vibe going on. Anyhow, this one is well worth picking up on CD or vinyl. It's available in both formats, so on Hindenburg Records. And speaking of that, my good buddy Trog created the logo for Hindenburg Records. Those who've been asking about Trog, him and I are getting together in November to do the next in the series that we were doing together. So hopefully we're thinking 1986, possibly, and 1977, the 2 years we're thinking about doing. So maybe either that or 73. We haven't just totally decided, but we are definitely working on 86 now. So there you go. That's my rock metal update for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of these bands. If I don't know, if you like any of them, if you don't like them, I don't care. Let me know what you think. Curious what everybody thinks of the new Alice Cooper, because I think it's a very good album from him. So leave a message below and I will get back with you. Appreciate y'all watching. God bless. Stay strong.